Housesmarts. Boy, you're an enthusiastic audience. How many of you are renovating? How many are going to renovate after this show? Everybody's hands comes up. Okay, we're going to talk about some really special rooms today. Let's talk about playrooms for grown-ups. Let's talk about rooms where you love to be. In theory, it should be every room of your house, right? Well, it's not quite happening that way, is it? Well, we're going to show you some rooms that might inspire you. We're going to start with the sunroom that kind of doubles as a living room, that kind of doubles as a dining room, that kind of doubles as a reading room. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. We're also going to show you a gorgeous little playroom for a child. We're going to show you an example of another good place to be, and that is in your garden and under a tree. We'll show you how to make that tree wonderful. We're going to show you how to build all those wonderful places by demonstrating a load-bearing wall, which is always a big question if you're a do-it-yourselfer, how to get around building one of those. And then we're going to show you how to drywall it real quickly. But first, let's go to the sunroom, living room, dining room, whatever it is. If you're thinking about making a sunroom, whether it's an addition on the back of the house or it's turning an existing room into a sun space, you have to think about architecture and decorating at the same time. You see, the two together, working together, will achieve the objective. That objective is to connect you with the outdoors. This room used to be just an ordinary screened-in porch. Now you see where the architecture comes from? Floor to almost the ceiling, windows. This is what it used to look like. Now that's not very inspiring. Even with a lot of fabric, it wouldn't have given you the same impression. Notice how the windows actually come right into the corner. There's very little structure left. It makes you feel like you're outdoors. The decorating is garden-like. Look at all the patterns and all the different colors. A local stencil artist, Nancy DeBelizzo, did a wonderful job in bringing the decorating on one side of the room, all the fabric, all the colors and patterns, onto the walls. And that doesn't mean you use wallpaper. It means using a ragged finish and beautiful little garden suggestive stencils all around the room. The ivy works beautifully, the little birds, even the monkey. And look at the way she's put a potted plant right on the baseboard and the wall. From a distance, it looks like the real thing. And then around to the other side of the room as you make the transition from the garden space into the living room, which is also very casual and a little bit country. She's added more stencil work, plates up above the doorway, and a wonderful garden stand full of a spring bouquet. She's used the colors out of the fabric. She's even picked up some of the floral motifs out of the flat fabrics that were used in the room and made plates out of them. Stenciling isn't a difficult art form. It's pattern and paint. There's no freehand drawing, but it does take a little bit of practice and some patience. She's done a beautiful job on this ironwork. Thank you. Now you see what I mean? Wouldn't you love to have a room like that in the back of your house? Now it may not be decorated exactly to your taste. You may want to do something different, but just think of all those windows and the connection you have with the great outdoors. Every room in your house should be someplace special. It should have that special something that draws you to it. When you come home at the end of a long, hard day, you want to have a room that you can go to, you can feel comfortable in, but not just one room. Every room should feel that way. So if you're looking around your room right now where you're sitting watching television and you're thinking, well, I watch television in here, but if it wasn't for the television, I don't really enjoy being in this room. Or if you're looking at your bedroom and thinking, boy, I can't wait to get out of here in the morning because it just doesn't have any atmosphere. Or if you're looking at a living room that just never gets any use, nobody ever wants to sit there unless you're inviting someone special over or it's a formal occasion, then you got to rethink your house. You've got to think of every single room as an important living space and make it work for you. Now, one of the ways you can make it work is to redesign it. Housesmarts. Thank you. Boy, you're a great-looking audience. Having a great day, I hope. Yes? Anybody decorating out there or getting ready to? Renovating? Getting ready to? Yes! Okay, well, we've got a lot of ideas for you today. We're going to show you how to build a column. Instead of going out and buying a great big column, we're going to show you how to build one that actually solves some renovation and design problems. We're going to show you how to design a deck. Not an ordinary deck, a multi-level deck. What happens when the back of your house is like 3 or 4 stories from the ground all the way up to the back, and you've got to have a deck come off the middle? Where does it go? Well, we're going to show you how to plan a deck that does that. We're going to show you how to make a faux stone wall. Faux as in F-A-U-X. It means fake. And we're going to make your walls look like they're stone, medieval style. We're going to show you how to repair your shingles all by yourself so you don't have to bring in a roofer. And we're going to talk about the most serious stumbling block that everybody has in renovation or design. What is it? Space. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Everybody is worried about space. How many of you think you have enough space? See? Not a single hand went up. How many think you have too much space? Now, we're like kids, you know. We're never happy. We're not happy when we have not enough space, or we think we don't have enough space, and we're not happy when I give you space. So often, I get mail from people who got renovation happy. I call it crowbar happy. You get a crowbar and a sledgehammer, and you can't wait to tear down the walls because you think you don't have enough space. You tear down all the walls, and then you write me and say, Lynette, I don't have a place to put my furniture. Well, you tore down all the walls, and now there's no back to anything. You got a wall unit and no place to put it. Now, I'm being a little silly, but what I want you to think about is space. And we're going to talk about it today throughout the show and how to deal with space. In fact, how to think about space, because that's where the stumbling block is. It's not that your house is necessarily too small. It's that it might be an excuse for not doing what you really want in terms of your decor or renovation. Now, what we're about to show you is a wonderful house, tiny little bungalow. I mean, these rooms are like your 10 by 10 rooms, 10 by 12s. We're not talking about mammoth spaces here. And it's done in deep, rich, dark colors. The ceiling is dark. The furniture is big and it's luxurious, and you can lounge in the chairs. And that's what makes it comfortable. And yet the room does not appear too small. Let's roll tape and I'll show you why. What does a designer do when the client says, you know, my room is just too small, can't do anything with it? Well, a good designer will do exactly the opposite that you think they'd do. They make the furniture bigger in scale, they make the colors bolder, and the architecture more beautiful. This room is only 15 by 18. Now that 15 by 18 includes the porch. You see, through the archway, that used to be an old bricked-in porch. They've opened it up and colored it in the same configuration. Notice how the colors from the living room expand into the porch area. Also notice how big and bold and ornate the finishing details and the furniture are. Does big and bold make a room look smaller? No. Does it visually complicate the room? No. And the reason is that all the coloration and all the texture is equally rich and equally deep. Notice the dark green, the dark gold, the deep tapestries, even the dark wood. All work. I love that living room. That is one of my favorite, all-time favorite houses. Later in the show, I'm going to be telling you how to get over this space barrier. Now we're going to talk about something that does eat up a little bit of space, just a little bit, but boy, what a wallop it packs. Let's talk about columns. Now, we're going to join Doug in the workshop, and we're going to learn how to make a column. Not go out and buy a round column, right?
Right.
We're going to make a great big square column.
You're right about space. This only takes up about 12 inches by 12 inches, the one that we're doing today. But you can make them larger if you wish. But the whole idea is that columns are either for decoration or to hide something really nasty and ugly in your basement, like steel poles.
Johnny poles, I call them. Those old poles that hold up the whole house. I mean, you can't really just do away with them. Or even brick columns, old brick columns that are, you can paint them, but it'd be nice to box them in if you're going to do something formal in your basement.
That's right. You can really fix them up. So come with us down here.
Okay.
All this is is just a lot of scrap lumber that you might have lying around your basement, let's say after you've refinished your basement. And you just build little walls, little miniature walls. And these are 12 inches by 12 inches. And as you see, it's just all made out of 2x4s, just nailed together into a box form.
Now, if you're going to write to us and ask us for a plan to build a column, don't.
Nope.
Because it's so simple, and it really is scrap material, just so that you've got a nice nailing face to put your drywall on. If you look at the inside and the way we've got this braced, hey, there's no magic here. It's pretty basic.
And it's kind of messy, too. I even have a few nails hanging out here and there.
Hey, you missed.
Well, you know,
That's
that
not
happens.
like you.
That happens. I'll fix
like
it.
Us.
I'll fix it later, okay, during the commercial. Anyway, with this particular one, what we decided to do was to build one that's just 12 by 12. Now, if you can take a look here, when you start applying the sheetrock, always remember to add 1/2 inch to your sheetrock as compared to your box frame. This way, each piece will overlap the adjacent piece.
Okay, so let's just say this again. What that means is when you do your measuring, you see from the top to the bottom here, we're measuring the wood box. But there's a piece of drywall or sheetrock on the bottom, right next to the floor. And you can see that it's about a 1/2 inch thick. So you don't add 2 times the 1/2 inch, because every time you take the measurement all the way around, you add just a 1/2, and it works out just right. And we'll show you how we did that in just a minute.
Okay.
So what do we got here? Am I measuring?
It's
My turn to measure?
12 inches, so we add 1/2 inch, 12 1/2 inches.
12 1/2 inches.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to cut a piece?
I think we got to measure first.
Okay, you measure, I'll
You
cut.
always said measure first, measure twice, measure 3 times. Okay, and we got a piece of drywall sitting over here.
Again, this is just some scrap left over from refinishing a basement.
You got a pencil?
I have a pencil. If you'll come down here, I'll loan you
certainly
my
will.
pencil. Don't break it. It's only 1 1/2. Come down 12 1/2 inches.
Got it.
There's your 12.
I'm going to take the 12 here off the top.
Now, this is a sheetrock ruler. And
This thing is just great.
Oh, it's marvelous. Watch what happens when you score the line with your pencil. No fancy measuring, no making errors, and it comes out square and true every time.
I love this, because if you didn't have one of these, you would be taking a ruler and marking a dot every so often, and you just know that when you connect those dots, they never work out just right. And this way, it's just a T-square.
Now, if you get pretty good at this, you can actually cut this with your knife rather than marking it with a pencil. But until you get a little bit used to the system, it's best to mark it first and then take your knife over it.
Yeah, because if you do it that way, you need 3 hands. You didn't tell them that part.
I'm going to move
Let's
it for
just
you.
slide that down here.
Okay.
The only thing you have to do here is make sure that you keep it tight to the top of the drywall and your pencil right on that 12. If your hand slips, you're in trouble. You got to go back and do it again. Whoa, I got a jiggly there. And I'm just going to mark the
Just
tail
finish
end
it
of
off.
this. Yeah.
Our mud will cover any little errors that we make.
Okay.
Okay, now what we want to do is slide it back. Next step is
You
to cut
cutting?
it.
There.
Now, when you're cutting sheetrock, don't worry, I won't get you. She doesn't trust me yet.
Wow, that's a big blade sticking out there.
Rather than try to take a knife and cut all the way through, that doesn't really work because sheetrock is pretty dense material. All you really have to do is just cut through the upper layer of paper.
So you bring the knife blade back so you're not inclined to really go at it. You
Right.
don't have to do that.
And then just a nice, steady, even motion.
Now hold on to it. If you've ever cut foam core for a craft project or for one of your children's school projects, you'll find that it's basically the same thing. You score the top level and then you snap it and it just pops it off.
That's it. We're ready to pop it.
And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. And then, I'm not sure, yeah, I'm over the edge.
Now, did we do it right? 1, 2, 3.
There you go. See how easy it is? And then you just, whoa,
Drywall mud.
fix it in post.
Okay. Okay, now bend it back up.
There we go. Okay. It's real simple. Real simple. All right. Now, we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to finish this. So don't go away.
Housesmart is presented by the Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning.
Explore your world. Daytime.
They've got the scoop on everything.
With interior decorating, recreation ideas,
Health tips, hobbies, home repair.
gourmet food.
See for yourself.
It's not one thing.
It's everything.
Where do I start?
Daytime on the Discovery Channel.
Rust-Oleum, the ultimate defense against weather.
Himes understands that the simple act of petting a dog can make people healthier and happier. It's even been suggested that people who own dogs lead longer, fuller lives. Now, knowing what dogs do for you, wouldn't it be nice to do the same for them? You can, by feeding your dog Iams every day. It's more nutritious because its quality ingredients are more digestible. Iams dog food, good for life. From the Iams Company.
I do some of my best work in the summer, so be cool. Put a new box in the fridge. I'll keep summer foods tasting and smelling fresh. And I'll keep ice cream tasting great. Start summer with a new box of Arm & Hammer baking soda in the fridge and one in the freezer.
On the Discovery Channel, the Popular Mechanic Show.
I'm Ted Reinstein, and this is the Popular Mechanic Show.
Cut and rolling.
It's innovative, it's techy, it's 5 days a week.
Today and every weekday, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. On the Discovery Channel.
Hi, I'm Linda Carter, and I'm here to tell you why ordering your contact lenses direct from Lens Express is
Such a great idea.
We're America's largest contact lens replacement service. Call now for a free catalog and save up to 50% by ordering direct from Lens Express.
And I get the exact lenses my doctor prescribed or my money back. Now that's
What I call service. I couldn't do without.
Lens Express.
Call this number now for a free Lens Express catalog.
The Wall Street Journal keeps you on the cutting edge with news and insights that can affect you personally and professionally. Subscribe now and have the Journal delivered to your home or office. And with your paid subscription, you'll also receive our free personal finance software to help you make smart decisions. Get 10 weeks of the Journal and the software for only $3.80 a week. Call now, 800-752-6300. That's 800-752-6300 for the Wall Street Journal.
Welcome back. See, we didn't do anything without you, but we're about to finish this column.
Right.
So what's next?
Let's put the sheetrock onto the piece, and then let's rotate it upright.
There we go. It comes down here.
You see that just sits on that ledge that we were measuring.
Down your side.
Now let's turn it up.
Okay. There we go.
Now there are two ways of doing this. The old-fashioned way, which is the way I've done it for many years, which is just nailing. Regular sheetrock nails.
Oh, I get to do it.
And then the newer version, you can do it that way. The newer way is with sheetrock screws. I'll do the hard part.
I got the old way, he got the new way. There's something wrong with the picture.
When you're running these down, be sure and recess them just a little bit so that when you cover it with the mud, the nails and screws won't show.
You cheated.
You may have one.
Oh,
more.
I got one more nail. Thank
One
you.
more. Yeah, I've got something I want to show you. I want to get this part done.
Okay, the sneaky part about doing it with a hammer is it's easier, but you got to be real careful you don't break the skin of the drywall, because then you got a big patch job to do, and that's not fun.
That is right. Okay, this is a galvanized corner bead material, and this is used to protect your corners against little bumps and dings, because sheetrock won't withstand that. So this needs to be...
Kids either.
That's right, especially mine. This needs to be put in place. But there's a little trick to putting this in. If you can get a good shot of this, there are two sets of holes here. You have large holes and then small holes. When you're attaching it, always attach it with the small holes. Do not put nails and screws in the larger ones.
The larger ones, if you look closely, if you try and put it, there's two things wrong with putting it in the larger ones. If you put it in the larger one, you're going to wind up driving the nail, as you can see here, into the chalk edge of the drywall. That's a big no-no. It's not going to stick. The nail will just break apart and the chalk will crumble. It's that paper, that cardboard they put on top that helps the nail adhere. The other thing is that the hole is used for something else. Tell them, Doug.
The hole is used to, when you're putting the drywall mud on, it squishes into the hole, spreads out, and then locks this mud up against your metal. The same way that when you're doing the old lath walls with the stucco, it's the same process.
The mortar squishes in between the screen. Okay, so I'm going to hammer one or two of these in here. So
and I'll do it the hard way.
Yeah, right. Okay, maybe we should do it out the other end, that way we can stand this up. And do every one. Don't skip on nails here, because if this pulls away and your furniture mover runs into your column, you know what's going to happen. He's going to ding it, and the plaster's going to crack, and you have a mess on your hands. So it's important that you do your drywall job firmly, securely, with the edge on right. Okay.
Ready.
I think it's time.
Oh, one more quickie. When you apply the mud, one of the things you need to look for is the light gap between the edge of your bead and the end of the blade down here.
Because the bead sticks out. It's not exactly square. It's a little, like putting a little cylinder on the corner of a wall. A little tiny bead here, and it really is a bead. The reason for that is to allow your drywall mud to have something to adhere to and to be flush with the column.
That's right. As long as you can see daylight along this portion of the blade, then you're in good shape as far as applying the mud. It'll be flat and true.
Okay. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay, you get it.
Oh, one more thing. Why don't you show them this while I get it?
It.
It.
The big surprise, right? We've actually finished one. This is what the top of the column looks like. And these are the details you'll find made out of stock trim molding. And that's what's so important. Once you have a column, you see a column has a top and a bottom. The top is called the header, and the bottom, of course, or the top is the crown, and the bottom is basically where the baseboard is. There are all sorts of classical terms for the various styles of columns, and we won't get into that right now, but basically just think of it as a crown and a baseboard. And that's what we've done here, is made a very elaborate crown and baseboard. Are you ready out there?
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Here it comes.
Okay, applause,
bringing
applause.
Doug out. There it is. Beautiful job. A gorgeous job. Thank you very much. And as you can see here, you show that, and I'll show this. These are the stock moldings. And if you look very carefully, I've got a cove molding here. I've got a piece of blank board, just a little 2x2. And you've got some chair rail. And another piece of molding, all stuck to a 1x6. And that's what's up at the top. If you look up at the top, that's what you're going to see. And there's the profile. And now Doug has got the baseboard section. You've got a 2x4. It actually started with a 2x4.
That's right. This is just a 2x4. And this is your baseboard that you have here. A little bit of quarter round. Again, this is just stuff around the basement. This is a 1x3. And look at this, some chair rail. And then this piece up here at the top is nothing more than door casing or window casing. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
So the whole idea of a column is you want it to telescope out the bottom more than your baseboard does. And you want it to telescope out the top more than your own crown molding does. If you don't do that, then all you've got is a little baby partition in the room. The idea is that now you've got a column that's got something fairly elaborate, top and bottom, and then it reads properly. This has been great. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you so much.
As usual, a gorgeous job. Okay, now we're going to talk to our guest about deck design. Hi, Dan, everybody. Let's welcome Dan Burrell from Architect Company. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We're going to talk about deck building. Now, Dan is here to tell us about not ordinary deck building, when you just put a slab on the back of a house and a rail and a few steps and that's that. What Dan's expertise is in is the building of decks that crawl all over the backs of houses. Multi-level decks. You've seen houses that are 2, 3, 4 stories, and you have to have a deck that goes all the way up, multi-tiered. Well, Dan's going to show us how that's done. And to do that, I think you brought some pictures with you, right?
Sure do.
We brought some tape. Let's roll tape and see what it looks like. There it is.
Yeah.
What a beautiful house.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, you can see the multi-level. There's a brick courtyard below. Here's the before picture. You can see the narrow kind of walkway look of the deck just really accentuates that long, skinny ranch-style look. And we wanted to break up the back of that house so it didn't look so flat and ordinary.
And that sure did it.
Yeah, we did a lot of bays, interesting angles, and corners to kind of break up that long, skinny ranch look that you find on a lot of homes. And here's the underneath side of the post and beam construction. You can see where the top of the deck platform actually cantilevers or kind of balconies over. There's a lake in the back that we wanted to get real close to without putting the structure of the post right out on the end of the deck.
That's really pretty because it's not often that you find the underside of a deck very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate when you're up a level like that. It almost makes the ground floor unusable.
Mm-hmm. Here's a waterproof courtyard that we did below the deck. Here's another angle of it where it's actually waterproofed on the deck above, so you can sit out there in the rain and the weather. Some curved staircases going down to it. Again, the idea was to bring some character and some design aspects to an otherwise flat back of the house.
Look at the fan pickets you've got there.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice.
Yeah. What's interesting about this, too, is don't be afraid to mix a fan detail with a regular straight up and down picket. Here you can see a bottom sweep rail. Here's a good feature of some diagonal decking, which you can use to incorporate a little more design into your deck. You can do some nice herringbone patterns and really break up that square, boxy look of your deck. Here's another picture of the fan detail where it's mixed with a regular up and down picket, so you can get a little variety. Here's a separate little dining area. We try to encourage people to think of their decks as outdoor rooms as opposed to just regular rectangles. So we divide the space up into usable portions, dining areas, seating areas.
That's really well designed. I like the way you refer to them as bays, because that's kind of what they are. It's like having a bay window outside.
Exactly.
Or it gives the room that extra shape. This is a beautiful job. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was really inspiring.
My pleasure.
You know what I think is interesting is so often when you decide to build a deck, it's usually in the spring of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in a big hurry. Like
Yeah.
you just can't wait. You've got from now until it gets real hot because you want to be using your deck by that time.
Sure.
And I think what happens is we don't spend enough time really designing it or looking at all the different features that you could possibly build into it.
That's probably true.
You brought some other pictures with you, which I think are really interesting. Let's get to those because we're going to show you some before and after shots. Those are always fun anyway, of different deck designs that Dan and his company have come up with.
Okay, here you can see a before picture that these people practically had no backyard at all. Very tight little city neighborhood. You can see they had a door going nowhere. Here's the after effect where we did a multi-level deck where they get a nice high view up in the treetops, also a little lower, more intimate deck connected with a nice staircase.
And it's really quite short, but it did the job. Oh, this is pretty flat.
Yeah, this is exactly
Whoa.
It's a flat, nothing back of the house, very boring with nothing going on back there.
And then bingo.
Here
There it
again,
is.
we did it, we put a little, if you see on the bayed corners, we did a little Chippendale panel. Don't be afraid to mix and match different railing details. You don't have to have all your railing look the same. Again, you can see the little cantilever or bay. Here's the back of another house, real flat, not much going on, a little door going nowhere.
Obviously anticipated a deck,
There you
never
go.
got around
and
to it.
we put a side deck, little barbecue grill deck with a little screened-in porch, stairs and a landing going downstairs to the yard, because access to the yard was real important to them also.
That's really interesting how you integrate these design details. And when I was saying before about doing your homework and making sure you think through some of these elements, that's what's so important. If we decide we're going to do a little design detail, we plan that out in advance. Do we build that as a modular unit and then work it into the railing as we design the rest of the rail? Or do you sort of do it as you go?
Well, no, the plans are all well thought out in advance. You need to have a real clear idea of what you want to do. The railing details are generally built on the site, and they're generally built individually for the custom openings and depending upon what particular rail application you're going to do.
Okay, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the decking and some ideas that Dan has about strengthening the deck of your deck. Did I say that right?
I think so, yeah.
Thank you.
Everyone at the Home Depot is proud to be bringing you Housesmart with Lynette Jennings.
Fresh and bright, blue sight, Teflon is my blue sight. Give walls fight, day and night, blue sight.
For a beautiful finish that cleans up easily and lasts a long time, get Lucite products with Teflon. Lucite, it's one tough paint.
Feels so right, blue sight, looks so right, blue sight. Teflon is might, always bright. Welcome sight, blue sight, all new height, blue sight. For a finish that won't
what's Graham Kerr cooking up for you?
Penny Primavera, roast pheasant, or baked sea bass.
I bet it'll be good.
And good for you.
Add some spice to your day with a dash of Graham Kerr. Graham Kerr, always low on calories and high on entertainment. His secret, it's all in the presentation.
Chocolate raspberry souffle. I'm hungry just thinking about it.
Join Graham Kerr weekdays at noon and 3:30 Eastern on the Discovery Channel.
Explore your world.
Thank you, and welcome back. Now we've got a little advice from Dan about your decking, because this little trick that he's about to show us makes your deck stronger, right? Just in the way you lay the deck boards.
It sure does. It can make a difference. As we saw a little bit earlier, we do a lot of the decking boards on a diagonal, 45 degree, and there's a structural reason for that too, as well as aesthetic reason. I have a little device here that can show you that a little better. Say this square represents the frame or the box of your deck, and this little board here represents the decking boards. Well, when you have them going straight across, say parallel to your house, your deck still has the ability to do a little wobble.
Whoa.
Still has a little bit of an ability to do that.
A hurricane.
Yeah, what happens when you place the decking boards, say, on a 45-degree angle, each one of those decking boards acts like a cross brace, and now it's locked into place. And that can actually make your decking board feel a little stronger and a little more rigid and not have that kind of sway and rack in there.
You could do that with any kind of deck. Even though you double and triple nail the deck board all along, sooner or later those nails are going to start to wiggle.
In most cases.
And you can feel it racking. That is really wonderful. What a great piece of advice. Thank you, Dan, for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
That's super. Dan Burl, everybody. That's very well done. Okay, I'm going to leave Dan now, and we're going to talk about faux stone. In fact, I'm going to show you how to put stone in your living room with paint. Abigail Camelhair, everybody, who's joined us. Abigail calls herself the queen of latex paint. She hates it when I say that. But the reason I think that that's important is to demonstrate that what Abigail is about to show us, and a lot of her work, in fact, is done with plain old ordinary latex paint. You don't have to get real fancy with all the chemicals and those unusual things you see in the, a lot of painters use.
Oil glazes. They're toxic, and they take a long time to dry.
They do, and it's real hard to work with. And most of the things that you can do on your walls can be done with latex. And
Absolutely.
I think that's really important. Now, Abigail is an expert faux painter and decorative artist. And what we're going to learn today, in fact, I've never done this before, so Abigail is going to teach me how to make our living rooms or powder rooms or bathrooms or whatever room look like stone. And this is very much a medieval thing, isn't it?
Well, it does have that old castle kind of look to it.
Now, the stone has to be a certain size, or can we start with...
You know, your options are open. I think you just need to keep in mind the scale of the room that you're working with. In this case, I picked an 11 by 18 template to use.
Okay.
You have to measure out and do all your taping first. In other words, the base color on the board is going to represent the grout lines that would be between... The concrete, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So,
and you've got a template here that you've made. Is there anything special about this?
Not really, except for the fact that I've divided. You want it in half so that you get the, the every other brick thing. And I made a little notch here to point out where the middle point is.
Where the uprights are. So when you put this here and there's your notch,
so that you can mark it here and at the same time knock that one off.
Right.
It's all in the interest of time to me, so that I can do this kind of project as quickly as possible.
Which is wonderful, because I'm one of those people that if I can't get it done on a weekend, it never gets finished.
Oh, I go for one day.
My basement is full of unfinished projects. Okay, now what do I do here? You got
all
this
I
pretty
did
much marked
for this,
out.
well, I marked it out in the interest of time, and I just started up at the corner, and then I made little marks with chalk. I've gone ahead and then I connected the lines all the way across. It's important to get all your horizontal lines first, so that you can step back and make sure they are indeed parallel and that they aren't going downhill. So every once in a while you want to check it with a yardstick or a tape measure to make sure that you're keeping it level.
Now you've got little chalk marks here. What do I do first?
Well, I put those there just to make sure you get it right. What I would do, now take the template and the chalk and go ahead and mark it so that the audience can see. Starting from that point, you know you want it here and here.
Oh, I got it.
And your little green marks, right. so that you'll know you can connect your upright with that.
And there's the green mark. And I mark it on the tape?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
And now you want a whole nother one. And sometimes when I'm doing it to save another minute, I'll go ahead and mark the middle one for the next row.
For the next row, I got it. Okay. And we take that across.
Exactly.
And we do that.
Right.
That's already marked.
That's already marked.
That's marked there. And this is here. Why don't we do these?
Okay.
Because we're probably not going to have time to do a whole lot of the wall.
All right. If you use a little thing like here, hang it on there and whip it off.
Oh.
Nice and fast.
Sneaky. Okay.
No.
Oh, the next one.
Right.
That's good.
But you can't go over where you went there. You have to keep it down below.
Oh,
exactly. You got it.
Okay. Hey, I have to remind you, though, you know, the good old days, they didn't have everything all level and true.
True.
That's my excuse in advance.
Well, that's true, and they also didn't have a nice, even, perfectly quarter-inch grout line, but we're doing it because it's the most expedient way to do this.
Okay. Now, next, the glove?
I think so.
Okay. Nasty to get latex paint out.
Well, it gets under the fingernails and then doesn't come out very well.
And then I have a sponge?
Right. And I've mixed up a taupe color and a buttery color. We're only going to use 2 colors, but we're going to take advantage of this underneath color here.
There's the taupe.
Right. Don't use thick, straight paint out of the can.
Which is the biggest mistake everybody makes when they're sponging.
Exactly. Remember, you can build up darkness by doing layers. If you start out with a watery paint, then you're in control, and if it's not enough, you can go back and add to it. Once you've blobbed on some dark paint, then you're kind of stuck with it.
Okay.
Of course, with latex paint, the beauty is you can always come back with the base color and work it upside down.
Okay. Now, we don't have a lot of time.
No, work around your edges first. Okay.
Just like that?
Well, right, but you want to keep moving your sponge around and keeping it kind of mottled so that you don't have perfectly even sponging. And that's the hardest thing. That's where judgment comes in and experience helps you. Right, that's the idea. A little bit darker.
A little more paint.
Right. And it's important to get it thick along the edge because that's where you're depending on the contrast of the underneath color, see, that's hidden by the tape.
Okay. And do I come into the center as well? Just a little bit?
Just a little bit. You want to avoid, and you want to have it kind of move cloud-like.
I love the way you talk about this, you know.
Well,
it's movement, it's clouds.
Well, it is movement, and it's kind of like a big abstract painting, and it's not, you can't formularize it much as it would. Keep that sponge for the taupe because...
Well, I'm going to go back over it.
Right, right. You may need to go back. I like to keep my sponges separate.
You should.
And sometimes...
I was being sloppy.
That's okay. I'm sloppy too, but I don't show you when. I sometimes turn it around and use the back of the sponge a little bit where it's just water to blop it up because you don't want that too even. You don't want it even. Consistently inconsistent is kind of the name of the game. Okay. And that's not as easy as it sounds.
No, it isn't. Because, in fact, you get lazy and your arm gets tired.
Well, you also get lazy, and sometimes when you quit thinking for a second, you find that you've used that same sponge in the same exact spot, and you've developed a pattern, which you don't want it too pattern-like.
Mine doesn't look like yours.
Well, I've been doing it longer, but I bet if I worked with you, if we worked at this for another day, you'd have it.
I'd have it, like
right.
a room
takes practice. I practiced before I got here.
That's all the color?
That's
that you
all
have
it
on.
is. But you see, I need to darken this for the set design, so I went back over it, and I used a little bit more paint, and I used it thicker, so that I then go back. You see how you're getting it darker?
It's starting to look that way.
Work your dark
I'm getting it.
Work your dark along the edges.
Great. And then all you have to do is just peel this off and you got your line.
Carefully. See this little X-Acto knife here?
Yeah.
Take that and use it to pull that up gently, and then you pull back against itself. The most common mistake I've made is pulling off that base color. It rips off sometimes.
That's beautiful.
That's when you take your basic color with a little paintbrush and just go in and touch up.
Abigail, this is super. It does take practice, and that's what's important, that you keep doing it over and over again until you get it right. Practice on some cardstock, and then go at it. Any bathroom, any bedroom, any living room, a hallway.
Once you get good at it, you can add niches and architectural details as much as you've got time and energy to do.
And make it look like this. Thank you very much. There you go. Thanks for being with us. Yeah. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to teach you how to repair your own roof. So don't go away.
Housesmart is presented by the Home Depot, North America's home improvement warehouse.
Hey, New Orleans, here's what's next.
Graham Kerr. Followed by world-class cuisine.
Appetizers, entrees, desserts.
Then great chefs.
Delicious.
Daytime on the Discovery Channel.
Where's the best place to go to make your garden grow?
Springtime is absolutely gorgeous at Home Depot.
We got plants, we got flowers, we got
geraniums, chrysanthemums. We're going to have everything you need.
We have trees.
Home Depot has way more than just rakes and mowers.
We got a lot of stuff. Let me see.
We've got everything to grow your garden.
The Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. Keep your lawn looking great with Ames Lawn and Garden Tools. They're built to last, and they're at a guaranteed low price every day at the Home Depot.
Where can you get big savings on the best paint money can buy? At Sherwin-Williams, where now through Sunday, you'll save on all our exterior paints and stains.
Sherwin-Williams, where to get it?
Hey, St. Louis, guess what Easy Does It has planned for you?
Something for my garden?
I need a plan for my den.
It's always something.
Get into Easy Does It weekdays at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central on the Discovery Channel.
Explore your world.
Thank you. Okay, as promised, we're going to talk about shingles. Now, I thought I'd take advantage of the fact that we have almost an all-female audience. Now, it's not very often that any of us ladies get a chance to pick up shingles, right?
Right.
Have you ever shingled a roof?
No.
You ever intend to?
No.
There's a definitive answer for you. How do you feel about holding a shingle?
That's all right.
It is? It kind of feels like an emery board, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of yicky. What about you?
They're rough.
Kind of rough. Would you ever shingle a roof or fix a roof or say yes?
Sure.
That's a good sport. You know what's interesting about shingles is, and I think it happens to women more than men, is that it's funny stuff. If you've never picked up a whole piece of shingle, well, it's flexible. I mean, you can play with it a little bit, right? Look at that. We've all got demo pieces here. And it feels like an emery board on one side, so you tend to want to pick it up like this because you can just see your manicure. You can feel your manicure dissipating as you're handling it. But the strange stuff is that we don't realize that shingles are actually very fragile. And it's like paper. And it's on the top of our houses. And it's what separates us from the elements. Is this stuff that's just like paper. And it comes apart and stuff. Well, as you can imagine, if it's just like paper, then the wind and the weather gets to it. And that's where you-know-who comes in, right? Who's going to fix it for us, everybody? Dave. Okay, let's come on down here. Dave is waiting for me to stop my silliness so that we can get on with the repair job. But let's take a look at what the wind has done.
Okay, we have a common problem here, Lynette. This is when your shingle is rolled back, and you see this a lot. The wind gets to it, especially on older roofs. When it gets brittle and, you know, it starts to just hold this shape. So you look up at your roof and you see this little flap sticking up and it's really bugging you. Let me tell you how to fix this.
Okay. Now, you want to make sure that you fix it when it gets to this point and not when it gets a whole lot worse, because once that starts lifting, it just keeps working its way up your roof. And before long, you got a big repair job on your hands.
That's right. Now, this is some really gooey stuff here.
Black, gooey stuff.
What we've got is just
like
regular roof cement.
Okay.
It can be used to fix a lot of problems on the roof. And we'll just dip a little on here. And all you have to do is take the curled shingle, underneath it, just put a little bit of roof cement on there.
So it's just goo.
It's goo.
But you don't want to have this stuff come down below your shingle line. So you've got to be real neat. It's like a little craft project, okay? No one that's squishing out the sides.
No, I'm just pushing it down.
Ugh.
Yucky. But that'll hold it down, and if you need to put a little weight on there for a while, you can do that. Just be careful not to put anything big and too heavy on your roof. It might roll off and hurt somebody.
So what's heavy enough? A brick?
Brick will do it. Actually, it really doesn't take that much. It depends on the shingle. You can put a brick on there, but you can see it might slide off. So generally, it'll adhere. Just the sheer tackiness of the roof cement will take care of it.
Yeah, and make sure you remember that you put the brick up there, because you come home from work one night and there's bricks on your roof and you can't quite figure out why.
You're wondering what's going on. Okay, now let's move on to a bigger problem.
Okay. Do we need this?
No, you can keep that if you want.
Do all sorts of things with a bucket of black tar.
There you go. Now this is a real problem. What we have is a bad tear in the shingle, just like you were showing. It's pretty fragile. And it can happen when somebody's up on the roof. Either you're getting up there to clean gutters or fix your chimney or something. If you're not careful, especially on an older, brittle roof, it can tear like this. Now, this has to be replaced.
Okay. But do you replace that little piece and just glue another spot on it?
No. Okay. What we need to do is replace this entire shingle, which consists of 3 tabs. Okay? These are tabs, these little pieces right here.
Yeah.
You can see that. That's a tab. Now, the problem we run into is that there's all kinds of nails in this thing. And up above, in the course of shingles above there, you can see that there's nails.
The nail. Now, when you lift your shingles up to find the nails, you've got to be real sure that you don't break your shingles off. I mean, they're not that rubbery.
That's
you bend them 2 or 3 times, and now you've got a crease, and they will eventually tear.
Especially older roofs. It's because they tend to get a lot more brittle. So the first thing to do is remove these nails. To do that,
I always get the
we have
labor, the hard
a
labor.
little crowbar. Now, what you do, if we can see that, is stick that underneath the shingle that you're going to fix. Okay, so we'll put it up under there until you hit the nail, and then pry up on it. And what'll probably happen is, there you go, that's good. Now, you don't have to get it all the way out. We'll do that from the top.
Okay, there it is.
So what we've done is pried that up, and if you tear up the shingle, it's okay, because we're going to replace it anyway.
Okay. Now, we're going to work our way down these shingles, but first we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to show you how to finish this.
Housesmart with Lynette Jennings is brought to you by the Home Depot.
I remember little Jenny learning to swim. I also remember showing her parents how to care for their pool. I'm a BioGuard authorized dealer. They told me I made their pool one of life's simple pleasures, like when I helped get their water in shape for Jenny's Sweet 16 party. Look at that water sparkle. I think I'm as proud of it as they are of Jenny. Thanks to BioGuard.
Make your pool a simple pleasure.
Rust-Oleum, the ultimate defense against weather.
Hey, St. Louis, guess what Easy Does It has planned for you?
Something for my garden? I need a plan for my den. It's always something.
Need a little help around the house? Try Beverly on Easy Does It.
Do it yourself.
That's easy.
From useful tips to the how-tos of any home project, Easy Does It every time.
I can do that. If I can do it, you can. That's probably why they call it Easy Does It.
Get into Easy Does It weekdays at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central on the Discovery Channel.
Explore your world.
Is your child protected for the future? Gerber, the baby people you've known since you were an infant, offers you a way to help with that protection through their Grow Up Plan for Children. It's a $5,000 cash value insurance program that costs less than 11 cents a day. At age 21, that protection doubles to $10,000 with absolutely no increase in premiums. In addition to automatically doubling at age 21, the plan also guarantees the right to $50,000 of insurance by age 28, regardless of health or occupation. So call now for your free information packet. Any healthy child 12 and under is eligible to apply. No medical examination is necessary. Simply answer a few questions. As a special feature, your first month's premium is $1. The Gerber Life Grow Up Plan.
To show you care, call now. Call 1-800-784-6767. The information package is free. There is no obligation. This offer is available to parents and grandparents only. That number again is 1-800-784-6767.
Thank you. Okay, as you can see, we haven't done anything while you were away, and now we're going to pull out the nails.
That's right. We've got the nails pried up a little bit so we can get at them with the claw of the hammer, and you can take a hammer there, and I'll take one. And we'll just pull them out. And the size of the nails really depends on how many layers of roof you have on there. But,
you go, all right.
Okay, you go ahead. And there may be one more down there.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay.
Can you get it? Okay.
Yep.
Now, we've got all the nails out, right?
Yep.
No, we don't. There's a whole nother course of nails above here. But we don't want to tear those out because we're going to start ripping up this part of the roof, which you don't want to do.
It's a never-ending story.
Never-ending story. So what you do is you take that end of the shingle, and I'll take this one. What we're going to do is gently pull it right through
Gently, he says.
The nails. And a lot of times you can get...
There,
you go.
I got it, I got it.
Now you can see what's happened is it's pulled the nail right through the shingle.
That becomes your mark.
That's right. So now all we have to do is put that one down. We got a new shingle here. We'll lay We'll lay this shingle down, put the old one on top, and now what we're going to do is just notch out for those nails, and we'll slide it right back up in there.
That becomes the template.
That's
now,
right.
I've got 2 notches here. Wonder which one it was.
Both of them.
Oh.
Because what happens is that was probably where 2 of the shingles actually met. So we're just going to take, and I don't know if it may be easier to cut it from the back side sometimes if you don't have any luck on the front side. And you don't have to worry about these too much. And
okay, I got to put this back up here and get my mark.
There. You got it?
Yeah, you got yours?
Just about.
And you can be real sloppy here. Now, one thing you got to be careful of is we're holding this away from the shingles, okay? Don't do this on your roof without cutting onto something, because otherwise you're likely to cut through the other shingles, and instead of being a 5-minute job, you're going to have like a 2-day job.
Okay, so let's throw this one away. Now we take our new one.
I made little notches.
That's right. I did kind of a sloppy job. I was working left-handed.
Oh.
Okay. That's my excuse. All right, so now all we do is line it up.
Okay, mine may not fit.
Yeah, it should...
You know what? My notches aren't big enough.
Oh, dear.
See? When you don't make your notch big enough,
okay,
you run into trouble. There.
There you go. Okay, now lift up the tabs here. Slide it back up into place. Look at that. Oh. There you go. You're getting there. Actually, you're pretty close there. Got it?
Think
we may have some stuff that's still stuck under there.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, see, now here's a problem that you may run into.
Got it.
When you pull your shingle out, you make sure and get all the debris out of there, too, because it can get you caught.
There it goes. Okay. Now we got it in place.
I can slide it down a little. Now, there it is, right in place. Now all we have to do is nail it back in, just where the nails were before. We got some galvanized roofing nails. You want to make sure you use the right nails. Nail right about where the strip is across here.
Now, when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you don't mess around with these flaps too much, because you might break them off, or you'll weaken them so that when the wind does blow, you'll be lifting them back up again.
There you go.
Ta-da!
It works every shingle time.
With that, I think it's time to go to get some design ideas.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. As usual, great job. We're going to now take you to location to show you a wonderful, really creative staircase idea for those of you who are getting really bored with the same old oak and pine staircase. Watch this. Jill Van Tosh's clients wanted a grand hotel feel to their staircase. And when you look at it, at first it looks very complicated, but it's not as difficult as you might think. The copper sheeting you see here is hand-hammered and applied to the wrought iron newel posts. The diamond shapes and the metal edges have been applied to the copper sheeting. They go on top of the sheeting. It's like layering materials. Now the copper has been lacquered to prevent the color from darkening or from the metal oxidizing. But you might also want to consider, think of this, antiquing the copper. You could actually turn it into verdigris. After all, that's what verdigris is, tarnished copper. And then you'd have a green and black look. Wrought iron staircase railings have a history as long as your arm. While iron's been used in weaponry for thousands of years, it wasn't until the 17th century that the technology was developed to make ornamental iron gates, railings, and balconies. This balustrade has been combined with a black lacquered wooden handrail. Why? Well, because the homeowners wanted the warmth of wood to hold on to rather than cold metal. A practical touch, painted black, it works beautifully with the wrought iron and the copper. The newel post caps, little tops on top of the post at the end of the railing, are wood too. So the cost is less than it would have been if you'd had them made in custom iron. Beautiful touch. Thank you. Now you see with a little bit of copper, a little bit of iron, And a lot of imagination can do to make a staircase special. That wasn't a very expensive application. Pounded copper is not expensive. It's just imaginative, and it sparkles. I think it's stunning. Now we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about space and then home sweet home. So don't go away.
Housesmart is presented by the Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning.
It's time to stop believing that ab workouts have to be difficult, time-consuming, and painful. And for those of you who thought you'd never have a taut, firm waist, well, I've got good news. Now, you've got a second chance. Hi, I'm Brenda Dycraft. If you're serious about getting back to basics and developing rock-hard abs and a trim, toned waist, well, there's only one choice. It's the Ab Roller Plus. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the last abdominal product you'll ever have to buy. Up until now, there hasn't been a good home product that addresses the biggest problem people have every time they do a sit-up. The number one complaint I hear is not, oh, my abs hurt. It's, I can't believe how much my neck hurts. I mean, I believe that's the reason most people quit their ab program. Watch this. When people do a sit-up, they have to lift their head and shoulders off the floor. Now, this causes strain in their muscles of their neck and shoulders. And you may end up quitting too soon before you get enough of a workout to really make a difference in your abdominals. You'll love the feeling of doing ab workouts with the Ab Roller Plus. It's truly a remarkable product. It's so targeted that you're free to focus on working your abs rather than lifting your head. And that's when you really work your abs. That helps you get back your tiny waist and get rid of your gut.
We went to one of the world's foremost fitness authorities, Dr. Fred Hatfield.
Hi, Dr. Hatfield. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You have won over 30 world record titles. And at the age of 45, he lifted over 1,000 pounds on his back and won the world title in powerlifting. I mean, you've got to have strong abdominals and a strong back, right?
Every man, woman, and child on the face of this earth needs a strong midsection. Everything that you do requires a strong midsection. Don't forget, Brenda, the abdominal midsection area connects your upper body to your lower body. There are several different muscles in the midsection. You have internal and external obliques, you have upper and lower abs, you have erector spinae in the back. Now, most people, as they age, tend to become more and more sedentary, and gravity begins to take its toll. Those inner organs inside your abdominal cavity, they begin to distend out, creating that characteristic pot belly. Now, there's a problem with that. As that pot belly gets bigger and bigger, you've got to compensate for it by leaning back. And that is going to put a lot of stress on those nerves running down through the spinal canal in your lower back. Let me show you some of the versatility of this tremendous device we call the Ab Roller.
Okay.
First of all, notice that his head is resting on a pad.
Right.
No longer is he going to get neck strain from doing regular crunchers. The second thing that you look at is that this is an excellent cruncher because he's getting all of the upper abdominal wall. We're going to do a little variation here, Jeremy. Lay your legs to the side and now crunch, and you'll see that we're getting the external obliques on this side, plus the right abdominal.
Right.
Now, Jeremy, feet are straight apart, and now bring your upper and lower body together. Now we're getting the lower abdominals and the external obliques. It's just a great exercise device.
If you're serious about developing rock-hard abs, well, there's only one choice. It's the Ab Roller Plus. It's the last abdominal product you'll ever have to buy.
Introducing the Ab Roller Plus, the only complete abdominal workout that supports your head and neck for a safe yet super intense abdominal workout.
These people have never used the Ab Roller Plus before today.
When I tried, it was phenomenal. My back didn't hurt, my neck didn't hurt.
I think it's a lot easier than doing sit-ups, easier in the neck and back.
For just 3 easy payments of $29.95, we'll include this free 5 easy moves in 5 minutes workout video. Get maximum results with minimum strain. Call and order the Ab Roller Plus right now.
Make the call today and get the Ab Roller Plus.
Use your credit card. Call 1-800-572-5511 to order the Ab Roller Plus in 3 payments of $29.95 plus $12.95 shipping. Or send check or money order for $89.85 plus shipping to the address shown. That's 1-800-572-5511. Call now.
You know, it really is time to stop believing that ab workouts have to be difficult and painful, because now there's the Ab Roller Plus. So for those of you who thought you'd never have a slim, firm waist, well, now you've got that second chance. The Ab Roller Plus in video is a program you'll find easy to get with and stay with. Its breakthrough design places you in the correct position every time. But what I like the best is that the Ab Roller Plus supports your head so that your neck strain is minimized and you can do a slower, more concentrated move. During this show, you've heard from real people. You know what? They got tremendous results. And so can you. All it takes is a little bit of effort and the right product. So make the call today, because I believe the Ab Roller Plus is your answer.
Hi, I'm Lynette Jennings. If you're looking for little ways to spruce up your home without spending a fortune, my new video will show you how. It's full of ideas that demonstrate how to work with what you've got. By using things you already have around your home, paint, fabric, even potted plants, I'll show you quick and easy decorating techniques to give your home a whole new look.
To order Lynette's Quick and Easy Decorating Fixes video for just $24.95, call 1-800-592-0077 with your credit card ready.
Hey, New Orleans, what's Graham Kerr cooking up for you?
Penny Primavera, roast pheasant.
I bet it'll be good.
And good for you.
Join Graham Kerr weekdays at noon and 3:30 Eastern on the Discovery Channel.
Explore your world.
If you'd like information about today's show, or you have any home improvement or decorating ideas to share with us, please write to Lynette at Post Office Box 78726, Atlanta, Georgia, 30357-2726.
Thank you. Welcome back. I promised that at the end of the show I would talk a little bit more about space. At the very beginning of the show, we talked about the fact that space is everybody's biggest problem. Either you don't have enough or you have too much, and you're never quite sure what to do with it. In fact, it's the stumbling block that prevents you from doing your decorating and renovation ideas well. Well, let's try and erase that fear. The first thing you want to make sure you do is make sure you have enough walls. For those of you who are renovating, to immediately tear down walls because you're influenced by the old decor, and before you do anything you just want to get rid of it, and you get sledgehammer and crowbar happy, that's often the wrong thing to do. Because if you haven't worked out what's going to go in its place or what your furniture might look like, or even if you haven't even bought your furniture yet, you've got to do a floor plan and make sure that you have enough walls to make sense of the space that you're left with. That's often a big trap. The second thing is to make sure you furnish it comfortably. Don't let the space bind your furniture arrangement. Don't let yourself be influenced by the fact that the room is, gee, I measured it off and it's only 10 by 10. And if I go out and I buy furniture, well, I got to buy really small-scale furniture. Sometimes wall-to-wall furniture is what makes it warm and comfortable. And the other thing you want to remember to do is paint it any way you like. This business of painting it all white because it makes it look bigger, old wives' tale. You want to make it look prettier, not necessarily bigger. Now it's time for Home Sweet Home, and I want you to look at the pictures that were sent to us by Ace Architects. This is called the Saxophone House, and I'll read you the letter. It says, Henry and Leilani Cotton, the owner of this house, took the hobby of playing a saxophone and his love of music so seriously that he had this house built to resemble a saxophone. The two instrument bell towers you see on either side are actually the stairways that lead to the upper levels of the house. The bell of the saxophone is actually the chimney for the fireplace in the living room. Can you believe it? I want to see a piano next. Have a great day and enjoy your week. Thank you.
What's next?
Graham Kerr. Followed by world-class cuisine.
Appetizers, entrees, dessert.
Then great chefs.
Delicious.
Daytime on the Discovery Channel.
Welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen. It's really two programs in one. This is a series that appeals to your creative side. Food that is sumptuous stuff. How could that be? This is a program about people who want to eat healthy and reduce calories. Actually, it's about food with an aromatic quality that fills the nose. Oh, sure. But it's also about keeping my arteries clean by reducing fat. But it doesn't mean a thing if the food isn't rich and colorful. Maximize the flavor. Okay, but I must have healthy food that I can cook in minutes. I must minimize the risk. So welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen, where we get our heads together just for you. Right, I need to get on with this because, you see, the first thing that I would do in this case is to take just a little oil and put it into a hot pan and start the process going. Now, what I've done here, just to show you what it looks like, the oil that I use is a little olive oil. And by the way, that is different from the normal olive oil. This one has been deodorized, so you don't get that full, pungent, extra virgin olive oil thing, which I love and which, you know, gourmets all over the world just extol. But in this case, I just want something which is right down in terms of flavor for those of you who are not into that kind of thing. So, this little charming little fellow here is sesame. That's toasted sesame oil. And what I do is I put in about 1/16 part of toasted sesame oil. And now I know Trina's going to say to me, stir with a knife and stir up strife. It's one of those things in our family. And that then has that toasted sesame taste, and it's wonderful. Now, I'm just going to put 1/4 teaspoonful of that. It's almost as if you're saying, like, why bother? And, well, it's a signature item, and you can, because it's complexity. When you reduce fats, you have to come up with things that are genuinely tier upon tier upon tier of flavors and colors and textures, and it's wonderful. Okay, so we drop that down. Small sizzle, okay. Onions are interesting things. I've just used an ordinary yellow onion, just so that everybody can do this. But here's a Walla Walla. By the time these come up, everybody goes crazy because this is in the state of Washington, the United States, and these are wonderful sweet onions, and just add that extra sweetness to this dish, which are great. But as I said, I've done this with the regular one. The Walla Walla, when it's dried, out of season, looks like that. And this one is a Texas 1015, which means on the 10th month, on the 15th day, they plant it. And that's a nice sweet onion as well. And there's a Maui and a Badalia, which comes from Georgia. I've tried to find out whether in England, whether we have sweet onions, and apparently we don't. So I know I'm going to get 3,000 letters telling me, of course we do, old chap, you know. But anyway, send it in if you want to. Always interested in hearing. Okay, now, when that's frying, it fries for about 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm being sort of elastic about that. It depends how hot you do it. But on a medium-high heat, you can get some idea about how dark that can get down. See, that's before and that's after. So it gives you some idea about how dark it can be. All right, so that's doing there. That smell of the seeds are coming up brilliantly in that as well. To be able to get the texture off the bottom of the pan and into this dish is an interesting job. We do it with two things. One, which is a cup full here, that's a cup measure, of beef stock, and also a cup of red wine. Now, if you're not into the red wine thing, I use de-alkalized stuff just in case. But if you're not into that, you could double up on the beef stock. It'll show a difference, frankly, but I don't think it'll be a bad idea at all. So just if, you know, you feel like that. And if you say, just the moment you got to the beef stock, I can't go with you because it's too complicated. Get a can of beef stock, get some thyme, peppercorns, and a few pieces of clove and a bay leaf and some parsley, and nice herbs, and put them in a little mesh ball if you like, or just chuck them straight into the saucepan, and just brew it up for about 10 minutes. It just makes all the difference in the world. It's a very quick way of doing stock, okay? And, whoops, I normally pour in the red wine first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 8 ounces, that's 1 cup, you see. Now, see the color of that? That's why the red wine is such a good idea, because the color mixes with a color which has now come off the bottom of the pan. Take all advantage of every residue, because that's where the flavors of the onion combined with the seeds together and have drawn out this wonderful flavor. So just get it all off the bottom. And here now is 1 cup of that beef stock with just that little extra herbal touch to it. And build the heat up underneath that and get that bubbling and nice and hot. Okay, good. Well, this is going well. Well, you see how simple it is? Very simple idea. Okay, this is the standard way that I thicken things. As you might know, this is the arrowroot deal. Arrowroot, in this case, has got about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons full of arrowroot. Normally, if you've got a cup, 8 ounces of fluid, you put 1 tablespoonful for 8 ounces, and that thickens it nicely. In this case, I put just a little bit more. I've got just a little bit more. I've got almost 2 tablespoons full of that mixture going together. Okay, now, because this is straightforward starch, it means that the moment that it hits a hot pan, it immediately clenches up. So if you've got a real heat underneath that one that I have here at the moment, it's sort of brewing up nicely. If you will do that, what will actually take place is little, dumplings will form off the bottom of the pan. That's not what we want. So you move that off the pan base there and just stir it in. Now, you'll notice that this is the starch before it cooks. The starch before it cooks is that milkiness that it has to it. But now as it's absorbing, you can put it back onto the heat again. Yeah, and it's remarkable. I mean, just look at it. You see, it doesn't need to boil to thicken. It is just so soft. And when the milkiness goes out of it, the color comes into it. And look at the color that's in that. It's just delightful. Now, because it's so brilliant and because the arrowroot is so glossy, you could actually leave it just like that and just serve it. But I've got an idea that if you want a smooth sauce, if you don't want sort of all the bits of onion all over it, then what you can do is you simply slosh, I'll just show you a little bit of this. Just slosh a little of it into a blender, all right? And put the lid on the top and just give it at high speed, just run it for about, 30 seconds. I haven't really timed it to be sure. And then take a couple, in this case I've gone to the absolute apex of gastronomy, is a hot turkey sandwich. This is bread underneath and then, the turkey on the top. All right. Now, in this case, you simply take a spoonful of it and dress whatever you're serving on the top, like so. And it's thick, but it isn't, that thick. It doesn't mask in terms of flavor. It has a wonderful appearance. Tastes good too. And this one then, if you want to get it really thin, thank you, you then pour this. But look what happens. When you do it with this, it's a very nice, thick, glutinous kind of sauce, but it loses some of its sparkle, doesn't it?
They got the scoop on everything.
See for yourself.
Daytime on the Discovery Channel.
A Frisky's cat is full of catitude, and you know he's getting his frisky attitude. Frisky's gives your cat 42 vital nutrients and the famous Frisky's taste he loves. Frisky's brings out the frisky in your cat.
Friskies is celebrating Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame by giving away a plush of Victor and Hugo, the 2 fun-loving gargoyles from the movie. Win them from Friskies. Just register at your store and bring out the Frisky in your cat.
It's the ultimate weapon in the battle to keep your toilet clean. Toilet Duck Automatic Bowl Cleaner with twice the cleaners to more thoroughly clean your bowl. Toilet Duck, the block with twice the cleaning power.
Getting flowers because it's your birthday? That's easy. Getting flowers just because? That takes finesse. Softness from a conditioner? That's easy. Softness and body? That takes finesse. With 2 conditioners, one that penetrates for softness, one that evaporates and lifts for body, for fuller, more beautiful hair. Softness? That's easy. Softness and body? That takes finesse.
DCD White Treats.
This calls for a celebration.
TCBY stores are now TCBY treat stores with frozen yogurt and ice cream.
TCBY treats, it's time to celebrate.
Really, the interesting thing is that this can make a tremendous amount of difference when it comes to numbers. So, I've never really sat down to a piece of turkey rather than a sauce like that, but it's the sauce that I'm really getting at the present moment, okay? Get back to the taste of that in a moment. See, that is the glory of a sauce which comes under something and lifts it up. By the way, thanks for letting me know about screwing up the paper. I will draw on the other side later. All right, now, these are the numbers, and this is how it works. The first one here, 180 calories, in the Minimax one actually just gets to be 84, right? And then we get to the fat, which is just one only gram of fat as against 13. Saturated fat is absolutely 0. And that gives me about a 10% of fat from calories, and that's really good. Cholesterol is down to 12, and in this case is 0. And then sodium is 20, and then just a couple of grams of fiber at the end.